I am grateful for Good Friday.
Amen.
I'm grateful for the story of the cross. Sincerely, for real, from my heart, I'm grateful for the story of the crucifixion because, in my opinion, brother, it is the greatest love story ever told. It is a story of a father who loved his children so much that he was willing to sacrifice his only begotten son so that his wayward children could be reconciled through his sacrifice. So that his wayward children could be justified by his grace. So that his wayward family could receive the atonement, watch this, for a bill that we couldn't afford. The Apostle Paul says to the church in Rome, by one man's disobedience, many people were made sinners. We also learn in Genesis, Adam's disobedience resulted in us being born into a condition by which we were separated from God and slaves to a sinful state. So,
yes, sir.
the sacrifice of the cross was the vehicle God used to redeem a generation of people who were once separated by their sins that divided the created from the creator. The cross was the place assigned to Jesus, the Son of God, to be the place where God's wrath towards sinners was silenced by Jesus' love towards you and I. With the sacrifice made on this cross, everyone say this cross, we now can be restored by the spirit of adoption. Hallelujah. Where we were once separated from God, but now, because of the cross, we can be reunited with God the way it was originally designed to be. The Bible says in Hebrews, it teaches that because the sins of man were so prevalent, the law of God required a sacrifice to deal with our sins. Those of you who all know, who have taken the time to look at the text, the Mosaic law institutes a practice by which burnt offerings and sin offerings were rendered in substitution for our sins. We started off, brothers and sisters, giving bulls and bullocks. Started off giving birds and animals, trying to buy our way with our sinful state. We use birds and animals. We use things on the altar as a substitute to suffice for our wayward ways. But God wanted to devise a plan where man could offer a sacrifice that didn't require reoccurring physical properties. God could not rely on earthly priests to stand day after day petitioning to God with these institutions that could never take away our sins. There were priests who would take animals and birds, set them on the altars, thinking that these birds could take away our sins. They were possible substitutes, but there was no sacrifice that could take away the sins of man but God. God had a plan to do it. And so what God the Father did, he needed an ultimate sacrifice that would annihilate sin once and for all. God the Father needed an ultimate sacrifice that didn't just represent a sin, watch this, but embodied sin. Embodied sin so that our sinful state could be rendered obsolete, could be rendered null and void, could be rendered gone once and for all. God the Father needed an ultimate sacrifice that didn't just appease the state of sin, but watch this, would eradicate the stench of sin off your heart, would eradicate the stench of sin off my mind, would eradicate the stench of sin off of my soul. So Jesus stepped to the plate and said to the Father, Father, here I am. I have come to do your will. Jesus steps to the plate and says, Father, here I am. Send me and I will go. Jesus steps to the plate and says, Father, here I am. You bid me to call. I will do what you asked me to do. Is anyone grateful that Jesus is the solution to eliminate the problems that your sins created? I said, is anybody grateful that Jesus is the solution, watch this, for the problem that you couldn't fix?
Come on, sir. My Lord, my Lord.
What is the cross, my brothers and sisters? The cross is the place where bridges are restored. The cross is the place where walls are resurrected. The cross is the place where the kingdom was reestablished. The cross is the place where lost people could be found and still can be found. The cross is the place where sick people can find healing. The cross is the place where sinners can find forgiveness for their sins. The cross is the place where dead people can find life and life more abundantly. Pastor, what is the cross for me? The cross for me is the place where my mother got healed from cancer.
Yes, sir.
Woo! The cross for me is the place where my father survived depression before he passed away. The cross for me is a place where a wretch like me was given another chance at life after drowning in my own sins. And it is by this we have been made holy. It is by this that we have been made righteous. It is by this sacrifice that Jesus laid his body on a piece of wood so that we can worship God as his children. So let this be the night, my brothers and sisters, where your hearts burn for God because of the cross. Let this be the night where your souls are ignited for God because of the cross. Let this night be the night where you have no other choice but to lift up the name of Jesus. Because you know if it wasn't for the cross, you would still be a wretch undone. Let this be the night where we worship God because there's a cause for it. Tonight we worship God because 2,000 plus years ago, a man laid down his life. Tonight we worship God because a man laid down his life not for people who deserved it, but for people that he loved that no one would understand it. Tonight we celebrate a man who took on the weight of the world on his shoulders. Tonight we celebrate the cross, which is, watch this, our new altar.
Awesome.
Tonight we celebrate a cross, which is our new altar, by which the ultimate sacrifice was laid on, so that we could stand as the redeemed of the Lord, rejoicing, because there is no longer remaining another sacrifice for sins.
Yes. Wonderful, wonderful.
After this one, my brothers and sisters, you don't need another sacrifice.
Need another one.
He is the ultimate one.
Yeah.
And so listen, church, if you can still appreciate the greatest love story ever told based on what was done on the cross, then I dare someone to take 30 seconds and give God the praise for what he has done.